Okay, I think we can start. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this event on the EU Global Gateway. I hope you are all well and hope you could spend the next hour and a half with us. We have lots of information to share with you about this interesting initiative. I think one of the first events, if not the first public event, discussing the EU Global Gateway with the local business community in Malta. First of all, I'd like to share a few words about the Malta Business Bureau, the organizer of this event, for those of you who are joining one of our events for the very first time. The MBB is the EU Business Advisory Organization of the Malta Chamber of Commerce, Enterprise and Industry, as well as the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association. We have a representation office in Brussels, where I'm based. So our mission is essentially twofold. First and foremost, we are following EU policy and legislation, communicating and creating awareness about the developments taking place in Brussels with the Maltese business community, and also collecting feedback in order to feed it through the legislative process through our national representatives. We're also part of EU business associations on behalf of our parent organizations, in fact, such as Business Europe, Eurochambers, and HOTREC. But we also have a second mission, which is that of implementing EU projects. We have a team in Malta which identifies opportunities and then implements projects out of which Maltese companies can participate and benefit from directly. But today's event is about the EU Global Gateway. I do not wish to go into too much detail in this introductory part because we have some guest speakers who will delve into more detail about this. But just an introductory note to say that the Global Gateway is an EU-led initiative to mobilize investments, particularly for third countries. And this presents opportunities not just for the EU to build relationships with partner countries in the developing world, but also to improve the standard of living of the communities there, as well as the digital and green transition for these countries. But at the same time, it presents an opportunity for European businesses to invest and also create new market opportunities in developing countries. Today with us, we have three speakers. The first would be the president of the Malta Chamber, Mr. Chris Vassallo Cesario, who will speak to us about the opportunities that this initiative brings along and how local companies should also look at it optimistically in order to look at opportunities to internationalize. We have Mr. Norbert Cilia, who is the Assistant Director at the International Development and Economic Affairs Department at the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs and Trade, who will also speak about the role of member states within the EU Global Gateway Initiative. And then Mr. Rigo Belper, who is the acting head of the Private Sector Engagement and Employment Unit at DG International Partnerships of the European Commission, who will provide us a detailed presentation on how the EU Global Gateway works and how this could be utilized by local companies, particularly in the context of our business ecosystem, which is made of SMEs and small mid-caps. Just a few house rules. You are obviously also welcome to participate and interact in this discussion by either putting a comment or raising questions in the Q&A section, or by raising your hand, and we will give you the floor when the time allows after the presentation. Finally, as you probably are already aware, this event is being recorded so that we can share it on our media platforms afterwards. For those who could not join us this morning, we'll still be able to benefit from the content that is being provided today. So with that note, I will immediately pass on the floor to Mr. Vassallo Cesario, President of the Malta Chamber, to share his views on the Global Gateway.
Thank you, Daniel. Distinguished speakers, dear participants, good morning to you all. I am thankful to the Malta Business Bureau for this opportunity to share the views and vision of the Malta Chamber of Commerce, Enterprise and Industry on the European Union Global Gateway. This is certainly a laudable initiative which deserves our collective attention. It reflects the values that lie at the heart of the European Union and fosters stronger partnerships with developing regions, not on paper, but through sound deliverables. The Global Gateway is not just about investment. It is about creating sustainable and resilient cornerstones in various sectors, from digital infrastructure and climate and energy solutions to transportation, health, and education. very much in line with our targets at the Malta Chamber. It is designed to support green and digital transitions, ensuring that economic growth is both inclusive and environmentally responsible. These goals are certainly ambitious, but not unattainable. For the Global Gateway to reach its full potential, we need more than governments and policy frameworks. We need businesses to drive the effort. Today's platform is an optimal one for us to have a close look at the unique openings entailed. We can all play an essential role in its success. Let us start with the broader parameters, which are very favorable. For the private sector, this is an opportunity to leverage EU financing tools, such as guarantees, grants, and equity investments, to reduce risk and open the door to long-term sustainable investments. The initiative encourages innovation by providing access to emerging technologies in areas like renewable energy and digital connectivity, fields that are set to shape economies not only of today, but even so of tomorrow. The Malta Chamber is very well positioned to motivate and encourage its members and the Maltese business community more broadly to look at present opportunities and upcoming prospects. Let us look at the two-way gains in the sectors such as digital transformation by way of example. In a globalized scenario that is increasing connectivity, the Global Gateway aims to enhance digital infrastructure, particularly in regions that have been left behind in the digital revolution. For developing countries, this means faster and broader access to digital services, from banking to healthcare, and the chance to integrate more fully into the global economy. For Maltese companies, this creates a dual opportunity. Firstly, to provide the infrastructure necessary to support digital transformation, whether through networks, data contents, or digital education platforms. And secondly, to help local economies build digital ecosystems that drive innovation and entrepreneurship. The positive impact is clear. With the right infrastructure, entrepreneurs in Africa can access European markets with ease, and European companies could explore new frontiers for growth, creating a true win-win partnership. The focus placed by the Global Gateway on reducing carbon emission and transforming to greener solutions aligns well with companies working in renewable energies and digital transformation. I am satisfied to say that a number of Malta Chamber members are already involved in sustainable energy, clean technologies, capacity building, and digital infrastructure, mostly in African countries. I am equally confident that they will be able to find additional opportunities through the Global Gateway. In this regard, the Malta Chamber stands ready to act as a trusted intermediary and the bridge builder between its members and businesses in developing projects. The more information businesses possess, the better they are positioned themselves to be able to contribute and even benefit. Another key strength of the Malta Chamber is that of connecting its members with potential partners abroad. Through the Global Gateway initiative, we can ensure that such contacts can span continents and sectors, creating a vast network of opportunities for collaboration. To put it shortly, we invite, or rather urge, our members to come forward with their interest in benefiting from the wide-ranging initiative. We will go through this journey together. In closing, let me underline that the EU Global Gateway is not just a policy. It is an opportunity for businesses to grow, innovate, and lead on a global scale. We believe that Maltese businesses can and should be part of it. From our end at the Malta Chamber, we will do our level best to continue and contribute to this powerful force for good, driving not just economic growth, but meaningful, sustainable progress that benefits all. And with that, I thank you and wish you a fruitful morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vassallo Cesario, President of the Malta Chamber, for the positive outlook that the Chamber has on the Global Gateway, but also for the commitment of serving as an interlocutor for businesses to benefit and take up opportunities from this important EU initiative. I would like to now pass on the floor to Mr. Norbert Cilia from the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs and Trade to share with us the work undertaken by the government in the context of this initiative and also his views on the Global Gateway.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by thanking President Vassallo Cesario for his introductory message and the Malta Business Bureau for organizing the session. We also sincerely appreciate the presence of officials from DG INTPA, who I'm sure will add a lot to this discussion. Malta was among the member states that most welcomed the creation of the Global Gateway, since we believe that in terms of its priorities, it clearly responds to the major needs of developing countries in the 21st century, aside from demonstrating the EU's renewed vision for development, with a focus on the digital, energy and transport sectors, and a clear intention to strengthen health, education and research systems across the world. It has been almost 3 years since the Global Gateway was introduced, and during this time, Malta has made some progress in terms of participation, with projects on water management in Antigua and support to digital health initiatives in the Hope for a Change medical facility in Ghana among the highlights. In each case, we built upon an existing infrastructure and used our funding and technical expertise to bring about positive change. But we are also keenly aware that to achieve the promised transformational impact of the Global Gateway, we, along with the European Commission, need to do more to encourage private sector involvement. It is the private sector that brings additional expertise, enthusiasm and capabilities both within Malta and overseas. In Malta's case, perhaps the biggest challenge is finding specific ways to engage micro-enterprises. The majority of private companies in Malta have fewer than 10 employees, whilst most Global Gateway projects cover tens or even hundreds of millions of euros. Micro-enterprises also find it difficult to make contacts and to obtain clear and readily available information about how they can participate in the Global Gateway. We are aware that no questions or solve all problems, but we hope that today's event will create enthusiasm and provide information. The Foreign Ministry, together with the Malta Business Bureau and other relevant actors, will do its utmost to facilitate participation and provide clarity regarding what the Global Gateway can offer. We view this as paramount in order to continue to ensure meaningful Maltese involvement in one of the Commission's most important policy initiatives in recent years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cilia, also for sharing the role that the Maltese government plays in the active participation by member states at European level to design the Global Gateway itself. And our main focus is to make it more accessible for smaller companies, which, as I mentioned in the beginning, is essentially represents the ecosystem of the Maltese private sector. Now I would like to pass on the word to Mr. Rigo Belper, as I mentioned, acting head of the Private Sector Engagement and Employment Unit at DG International Partnerships at the European Commission, who will provide us a detailed presentation of what the EU Global Gateway is and how can Maltese companies, in this case, participate in this important initiative. Mr. Belper, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me and inviting us to this event. I think it's indeed very important that we inform about more concrete ways on how to engage. And therefore, I'll share my screen to go through a presentation so that we can that I can guide you how to participate. Yeah, stay with me for a second. Sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so very quickly, I don't think we have to go too much in what is Global Gateway and the policy and the basic idea. I understand due to the introduction of the previous colleagues that is well known. So a Global Gateway, we want to build these more resilient connections between third countries and Europe. We need to address a kind of global investment gap. It is and there this investment gap, and for that we need private sector companies to engage with us. So the basic idea is we have certain objectives. If we have common interest, we really need you to engage with us, and we have some tools to facilitate the participation and investments. Of course, we should always work as the EU. We have value-based offers. We have to respect a number of values and norms, etc. That's our strength, and we contribute to the SDGs. Now, very quickly here, these are the main sectors on which we focus, right? So we have digital, they were mentioned, climate and energy, transport, education and research, and health. I want to add that these are the 5 overarching ones, but in these are also critical raw materials, agriculture, water and sanitation, circular economy, and also urban transport. So transport is not just long roads, it's also urban transport in cities, etc. So these are overarching sectors, but these are the ones we are focusing on for this program. Now, how to get engaged as a company? I will go through 3 approaches. You get informed and you apply for support. You can proactively engage locally, meaning participate in business forum that we organize. Or you have a business case already, you have a kind of good idea what you want to do in which country, etc. Then I'll show you the way how to best engage with us. So let's go through them. Again, this is a kind of overview of what I want to go through. First of all, get informed and applied. We have a specific website. It's Global Gateway Business Opportunities that contains all the information that I will give you today. So if you want to follow up on what is said today, you can go to that website. You will have all the references, all the links, etc., and where to apply. So get informed. Okay, you can consult the Global Gateway website. You can apply to EU tenders that we organize for implementation of certain projects. There are international tenders as part of Global Gateway projects that you could hook into. You can be a supplier to larger Global Gateway investments. If you are an SME, that's a way that works as well. Develop a business opportunity through the business fora or present your business case. But I will go through that more in detail. So this is if you go to our webpage, that I will share the link, of course, with the organization, the Maltese Business Organization. You can share with the members, of course. You will see first this opening where you see a map with a number of projects that are ongoing. Right, it gives you an inspiration of what the project looks like, how you could contact them, and how to eventually engage with them. Now, we implement certain projects, and of course, we do tendering. That's our first step, how you could engage. There is a specific EU tender webpage. I understand it's not always easy to follow that up, but that's where it's published, right? This type of specific tasks to implement. You can apply to international tenders as part of a Global Gateway project, but these are often very large projects, right? But these large projects, they contain also medium initiatives or tasks, right? We have here the Lobito Corridor. This is relatively known. It's a transport corridor between the Lobito port in Angola, and it goes through DRC and Zambia, right? And it's a long railway and road and etc. But the road and the railway will allow for initiatives in digital and renewable energy, agricultural goods, etc. Right? So the EU will contribute here to help build these railways. The large infrastructure investment will support soft measures for trade and transit facilitation, but will also support investment in related sectors along the corridor, right? Agricultural, energy, transport, TVET, these type of things. Just to give you an example here, so the Lobito management was won by a Swiss company, and then again the winning consortium for the infrastructure management and maintenance was a combination of a Swiss, a Portuguese, and a Belgian company. Another example is provide supplies to a large global gateway investment. We have MAF Plus, which is in the health sector. It's where companies put vaccine production manufacturing capacity in third countries, in Rwanda, in Senegal. And there, of course, it's a major investment, but they need a lot of suppliers. Here, what the EU is doing, we are not supporting the investment directly because the companies, they do their own investment to put the manufacturing capacity, but we are responsible to create a supporting environment that allows these factories to export, for example, their vaccine products. You have to work with the government, etc. But these factories, they need supplies, right? So that's somewhere what you could hook into. And here is an example. So BioNTech has invested X millions in Rwanda to build this capacity. And then there was a Belgian SME, Universels, that was able to supply equipment and technology. The second way is proactively engage locally. We mean by that the business fora. And here you see a list of past business fora and a number of business fora that are coming up. On the left corner below, you see Malawi, Guyana, Uganda, Nepal, Pakistan, Namibia, and then the larger EU-Africa Business Forum, because this is linked to the EU-Africa Summit that will come up in 2025. So if you have an idea of I would like to go that country or that country, you can see on our website what the focal sectors are. And for each focal sector, then there will be, for example, matchmaking tools that can facilitate your having contacts with certain companies there or partners there, etc. So most of these sectors are supported by matchmaking tools. Now, if you have already, and that is the best situation, of course, if you have more or less a good idea of I want to be in that country, in that sector, right? That is the best situation, because then it's relatively easy to find a tool that can support you. And the best way would be to engage then with the EU delegations, right? If you can present your case there, you contact them by email, you go to the website, you will find an email, and you say, okay, I'm in this situation, I would like to take this initiative, and they can help you and guide you in also how to best go about this and where you could find eventually support. Note that we don't have support for every situation neither, right? So it's for really, we have common interest, it overlaps, then we can find a tool. Our website gives also all the DFIs. So if you know already that you're just looking for a loan or specific equity, so you don't have to go through us, you can contact directly certain financial actors like the DFIs. We list them all, and the European Investment Bank as well, and the EBRD. We have a number of support programs. They are listed again on our website. For the first two here are for example, renewable energy. Get Invest is a one-stop shop on whatever is related to renewable energy, right? You can make your case there, and then they will advise you on, okay, in this situation, you best go there, or there for this type of support that you're looking for. And if you are selected, they accompany you till the contracting. Electrify is more directly a tool for financial support. Then we have for the agricultural sector, we have Agrify. For the digital, we have a few ones here. D4D Hub is mentioned, but we have FinFund, for example. We have Africa Connect. There are a number of tools there. So again, these support programs are listed on our website. You can see which one might be of interest to you, and you just apply there. Of course, this what I'm explaining here is about the global gateway. We are specifically focused on a certain number of sectors, but the EU is also having support programs for SMEs in general for internationalization. It's much broader. It doesn't only cover the INPA countries, if I can say, third countries which have a ODA background or still eligible. So we focus on those countries. So of course, this is just a specific initiative. There are tools that are much broader for the internationalization of SME in general. Voilà, so we have the links for the companies about the Global Gateway. I will share the webpage link with you. And on our website, you can find also other information like EU Chambers, Business Intelligence, tools that give a forecast of the trade potential, these types, a list of business organizations, etc. So this is more general information that could give you support if you want to have more information about the country situation there, the potential there, etc. So this is the presentation I wanted to give to you and share with you. And I'm open, of course, for questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Belper, for sharing us that information about where companies could find information through different sites according to what kind of project they would like to be involved with. Of course, as you mentioned, we did not go into too much detail of the nature of the projects. However, I think that that could be discussed more on a bilateral basis with different stakeholders once there are the ideas. I mean, I do have several questions, but first I wanted to see if anyone from our participants would like to take the floor, which will give you access, or if you would not like to speak directly, you could also leave us your comments in the Q&A section. I'm aware that there was already a question on whether the slides will be shared, but I think Mr. Belper already mentioned that the links at least will be provided, and we will, after this event, then share them with the participants. I would also like to take this opportunity to mention that we as MBB, as partners of the Enterprise Europe Network, can also support companies providing more information on certain elements that were referred to here in the presentation, such as about the single market programs, such as about the intellectual property desks that exist, and we'll be able to create the links where we don't have the information ourselves with our partners in these different offices. I see that we have one raised hand, so we'll pass on the floor. If you could also introduce yourself before making the comment. Thank you.
Yes, hello, good morning. This is Helga Mitzi from the Malta Chamber. I am in charge of internationalization and international relations more broadly. I have a question that fits in quite neatly with, first of all, the enthusiasm highlighted by our president, Mr. Vassallo Cesario, on making a contribution to the success of the Global Gateway from our end. And that also ties in with Rigo's presentation, which I found highly informative. Most of our members are interested in the projects that have been highlighted. However, in some instances, especially with the smaller entrepreneurs and SMEs, we find that for areas like Latin America, which is pretty uncharted waters for us so far, the regulatory frameworks can be a bit daunting. And my question is, who or which entity do we best go to for the detailed regulatory frameworks of the individual countries, especially in those areas, as I mentioned, like Latin America, where we have little or minimal context? I mean, is there a structure that the Global Gateway could refer us to for that kind of question?
So for the time being, I don't see any other raised hands. So I give the floor again to Mr. Belper, and then I have some other follow-up questions as well, unless there are any other comments coming from the audience.
Yes, thank you for your question. Indeed, the first idea that comes to my mind is the ITC, giving information of market access and also grow potential. I know that Trade and Grow also provide this information, but I don't have specific links now or IDs, but I can look into that and provide it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I take the opportunity to raise some questions myself as we wait for, in case there are others from the audience. So you spoke about the special business forums that are taking place. There's a whole calendar. I saw that some of the events already passed, but there are still that are upcoming. So this is a good opportunity for countries which have a specific interest in an individual country to attend that particular forum. I think one of the biggest challenges there is also because of the magnitude of the size of the project, which you clearly mentioned, could be relatively big for an SME to like go directly towards. For SMEs, it's more easy to hook. I use the same terminology you used, to hook into a project as a supplier or a subcontractor. You mentioned matchmaking there. I was wondering whether the Global Gateway through different structures has other ways of helping this consortia building in a way for these small companies to be able to link with others who are more on the driving seat to bid for these bigger projects in order to hook onto the consortia to participate in a Global Gateway project.
Yeah. There, I would say we publish also not all our projects, but many of the projects are mentioned on our website, right? Then you can see which companies, larger companies, are having organizing which type of engagement or initiatives in third countries, and then of course you can contact these companies directly, right? If it's not us who's gonna build the consortium, right? You have to establish a contact with these bigger companies then that do this investment in third countries and hook up. You can find examples on our website on the published list of flagship proposals, and that gives you the information to eventually establish your contacts.
So just to understand, there's the tender portal where essentially there's a call for companies to bid for the project, but then once it is awarded, the companies that won the bid would also then make a public call or an expression of interest for other companies to come on board as part of the consortium. Is this publicly
That I don't
available?
know. That I don't know. So we have an EU tender where EU funding is put, how to say, yeah, is tendered, but you have also big companies that just tender, take part in a tender that is organized by the local government, right? Of which we are interested, that we might support through a loan. Sometimes we support a government by a loan to undertake a certain initiative, and then the government organizes an international tender. It can be that it's a massive project, and then European companies participate. How these European companies then build their consortium, that is something they organize, and we are not involved in that, of course.
Okay. Something which perhaps I don't think you've mentioned in the presentation, but I think I see widely promoted around the Global Gateway is this aspect of Team Europe.
Yeah.
Can you perhaps share with us a little bit more on what this means and yeah.
Yeah, Team Europe, it's often if you have one of these large projects and then it needs some support by a certain government. So I don't know, we have a case in Costa Rica, we have e-buses that there is an initiative around e-buses. It's a Portuguese company that would like to apply, and it's supported by, or will be supported by, the Portuguese ECA, Export Credit Agency. But at the meantime, electric buses means also renewable energy. Siemens is going to put this international provision of renewable energy, and there it's supported by some German institutions, and it becomes a team national, right? That's at project level, because team national should be, we look at here at project level. Team national is also a little bit broader per country, etc., but it's not relevant for this discussion.
Very well. I've also seen some information, or at least there was a possibility at some time. I don't know if it was followed up, but perhaps you could provide some more information if you have. There was at the time the idea of establishing a European export credit facility. Did this project come to fruition? Is this in progress? Is it shelved? Because it's clearly it would provide an opportunity for companies to be able to make the leap in participating in such initiatives.
Yes, the only thing I know is it doesn't exist for the moment. So I don't know what the political situation is to which degree it will be pushed, but we don't have it. We don't have this tool for the moment.
Okay. I think we had a question which I'm trying to. It was only the countries from the business. So there's a question, I think, asking about the business forums that are being organized. Essentially, I think it's a question on whether we can share the list of the calendar of events, which we will after this event.
Yeah, but again, it's mentioned on the website that we publish there.
Yes.
We update there the list of business forum. Yeah.
But what we'll try to do is to maybe organize a short brief with all the repository of links where they could have the information. So from what I understood so far, the initiatives, or at least as it came out in this presentation, the initiatives are private sector led. Are there any projects which are earmarked by the European Commission itself in third countries, to which there is funding that is coming directly from EU programs, EU development programs?
Yes, of course, but then it goes through a tender through the EU tender portal or tendered by the national government, right?
Right.
So these are the two possibilities, and it's always through a tendering process. Yes.
I understand the process, but it's not always necessarily a private sector financed initiative, but there is also, in some cases, publicly funded projects.
Yeah, of course. Roads, hydrogen initiative. I mean, this water hydro initiatives, not hydrogen, hydro initiatives. In digital, sometimes a cable is paid by the public. So yes, and that it's supported by a loan or by a grant, and that is a tender. Yeah, it's both privately led and publicly led initiatives.
Very good. Right. I mean, those are the questions that I have
but
from
here in this context, often also with SMEs, it's often that you can participate in these tenders, but if you have your own ID, your own initiative, of course, that's very much of interest to us. And there are quite a lot of tools that can provide you all the necessary financial support. We provide also political support if that would be needed, and some we call it 360 support, so no direct support to the investment, but whatever is around it, some technical assistance or some training of staff and these type of things.
So if it's a company that has its own idea, not necessarily saw it promoted on the EU platforms, they want to do a project. They could contact and will find the right offices.
Yes, for example, in the digital, if you have a digital initiative, you know your country, you have this idea, and you're looking for finance, then, for example, I would say check FinFund, right? And on our website, you can find these tools relatively easy. You don't have to go through the delegation, etc. You just go to FinFund, you send your proposal, they do an evaluation, and then decide if they support you with a loan or equity or whatever your type of support is that you would like to have. So how to say, the best is always that you have your ID already developed, and then you're looking for support. That's then the tools are there to support. If it's a little bit broader, you can still contact the delegation to see, okay, does this fit? If you're a little bit lost, you could contact the delegation for some guidance.
Okay.
But a lot of tools are immediately available. I would go straight there.
So the ideas could be for any size of project, not necessarily.
Yeah. Any size.
So just to understand, for the benefit of the audience, this could be an individual company which is intends to do a project in one of the developing countries anyway. They're looking for financial support through bank guarantee or a loan, and if it fits the profile of the priorities of the Global Gateway, it could be qualified as such, and they could benefit from the support provided by these institutions.
Yes, by these tools. Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Okay, one last opportunity for our audience to share any thoughts or comments. I see that a colleague from the European Commission has posted a link already in the Q&A, which you could access. If there are not any other questions, I thank all the speakers who have joined us this morning to provide this information. I take all the participants whom I hope you found this information useful. I understand it's maybe too much to absorb, too many websites and links and information, but obviously this was a first event to provide some generic information on the concept and the context of the EU Global Gateway. We are here to support for any follow-up questions, also to direct you who you'd need to speak to or where to find the information. We will also follow up with a short brief with a depository of links on where to find the information. And as I mentioned, we are here to further support, as well as I'm seeing Mr. Cilia still with us. The Maltese Ministry of Foreign Affairs could also provide their support to those who may wish or be interested in participating in such projects.
Daniel, can I just say one concluding remark, because you mentioned it is indeed a lot, and companies sometimes are watching a wall like, whoa, there's so much information indeed. But I can really assure you, if you know, well, it is a lot because we're dealing with so many sectors, and all the sectors have support, and that makes a lot of tools, right? But each company is normally in a specific sector, and when you go into a specific sector, it reduces rather quickly the number of tools and things that you have to verify. And in that sense, it's not so complicated to verify if support is available or not.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Belper. Thank you, Mr. Cilia. Thank you, Mr. Vassallo Cesario. Thank you all participants for joining us this morning. I wish you all a good day.
Thank you very much.
Bye.